Husband gave me gonorrhea while I was pregnant. Turns out he was cheating on me with a woman he met online. I had never cheated on my husband, and never expected that he cheated on me. When I confronted him with the test results, he seemed genuinely shocked and insisted there had to be a mix-up with the results. He swore up and down that he had been faithful and there was no way that it could be true. I insisted that he get tested. He agreed to do it, and as the days passed he admitted that he had met a woman online and had done the deed with her. He claimed it was a mistake and he couldn't answer why he did it. He said the woman meant nothing to him and it was a one-time thing. I'm disgusted and feel betrayed knowing that he put me at such risk. Our pregnancy was planned, so we were actively trying before I got pregnant, and he had no regard for that. The thought of continuing the pregnancy while dealing with this betrayal is overwhelming. I'm considering having an abortion because the idea of bringing a child in the mix is crazy to me. I don't think I can ever forgive him. I feel like crap for thinking of having an abortion. I just can't see myself continuing this marriage and having a baby with him. Update: finally decided to find out the truth about his affair. I figured out my husband's email password and discovered that he's been on dating sites for months. I also found a woman's name and email address from hotel bookings he forwarded to her. I googled her information, found out where she worked, and called her. When she picked up, I got scared and hung up, but she called back, and we had a long conversation. She said that she didn't know he was married and kept apologizing. She told me that if my husband and I have been intimate in the past few weeks, I should get tested because he gave her an STD. I was shocked because I thought she had given it to him. She said he gaslighted her, making it seem like she got it from someone else. I told her he did the same to me. I didn't mention that I'm pregnant. She said she cut him off and is considering suing him over it. They met on Tinder and had been seeing each other for 6 months, although I initially thought she should have known he was married. I believe her because my husband isn't on social media. He has an Insta account but doesn't post pictures. She confirmed that they had done the deed multiple times, contradicting his claim that it was a one-time thing. She said they spent time in hotels until she felt comfortable inviting him to her apartment. We came to the conclusion that she was just one of the women he was involved with because he gave both of us an STD. Hearing all this made me sick, knowing there are other women. I feel stupid for not realizing what was going on and probably wouldn't have found out if it wasn't for the STD results. My husband doesn't know what I've discovered or that I've spoken to her. This is incredibly tough. I'm heartbroken and conflicted about whether I should schedule an abortion, but finding this out is pushing me towards that decision. Update: I'm almost 10 weeks pregnant. I've scheduled an abortion, and I'm feeling so guilty about it. My mind keeps changing. Should I have my baby? I'm terrified that I'll regret it and feel terrible for terminating an innocent life. I'm also anxious about the possibility of never being able to get pregnant again, but then I think, maybe I'm doing the right thing. The thought of dealing with this man for the next 18 years is overwhelming. We'd still be in each other's lives because we'd share a child. I'm just all over the place, and I feel sick having to make this decision. We haven't spoken in weeks. He doesn't know I'm planning an abortion. Not sure if I'm doing the right thing by not letting him know about it. I filed for divorce, and it feels like I'm dealing with 2 major losses at once. I'm so stressed and unsure how I'll survive this. If I have the abortion, I can move on with my life peacefully, cut all ties, avoid custody battles, never having to see or hear from him again, no longer dealing with his lies and deceit. If I keep the baby, him wanting to be there during your pregnancy, him wanting to make decisions about your baby, from the name to anything else you can think of, his family and his opinions, him wanting to be there during birth, him and his family are trying to gaslight your child into believing you're a bad person and daddy perfect, him being your child's role model, having to ask for his permission to make decisions like traveling or where you live, your child having a stepmom and maybe step-siblings who might not treat him well, your child is meeting multiple girlfriends, you being forced to let him take care of the child, he will be free to have a parenting style completely different than yours, and if he's immature and petty he might do things the opposite way you like them to just to piss you off, dealing with his emotional/mental/financial issues, never knowing whether he's telling the truth or lying about all kinds of things. Did he feed her baby? Did he take care of his cold the way you told him to? Why did the child get hurt? Could you trust him to be sincere? Could you trust him to be honest if he makes a mistake that hurts your child, even if coming clean would help the child? Or will he hide it and lie the way he did with cheating? Don't tell mommy we did this/you saw this/I told you this/you ate this, him being nosy about your personal life, including when you start dating or get into a relationship or marry. I'm his father. I have a right to know who's the guy he's gonna live with and crap like that. You can be sure your romantic life would suffer if he behaves that way. Not many good men want to get involved in that kind of situation, him using the kid to manipulate you. Update: I had an abortion yesterday, and I'm not sure how to feel. It was a difficult decision, but I believed it was the right one. There was no way I could keep the baby under these circumstances. Now, I just feel numb. I haven't told him, and we haven't spoken since I left him after discovering he gave me an STD. I know that when he finds out, he'll likely try to paint me as the worst person. I'm not sure if he deserves to know the truth, or should I just say I had a miscarriage. Story 2. How do I, 31F, tell my close friend, 35F, that her adult-only parties are offending people? First of all, I would love a real adult-only party where adults can talk and have conversations without kids interfering. She ain't doing that. She is having a whole party for everyone to focus on her kids only. I need to know how to address this with her. This has happened 2 times so far. The first time, we pretty much all assumed that she had to have planned for childcare that must have backed out or something, but since we weren't sure, we didn't ask her. I think everyone felt awkward believing they were paying babysitters for an adult night and then having to have her kids at the dinner table, and they very actively part of the evening needing to be entertained. 2 young kids. Then, it happened again. She sent out events for a dinner party in the evening with adults only on the invitation. Then, when we got there, she had set up all these kids' games everywhere. She arranged the night around everyone kind of playing with her kids, and I could tell everyone felt awkward because people just wanted to have an adult night talking. But she had promised the kids that everyone would participate in the games they had set up and asked everyone if they wouldn't mind playing with the kids. I know that several people who attended the last event were very bothered by having to do this. People were whispering on the side about how they had to pay a babysitter for the night and would have rather brought their kid along, and the kids could have just played games together if it's a family event. We barely ever pay a sitter, so I was kind of confused about why I had to spend my very limited babysitter funds on a night that I didn't even get to talk much with other adults because the kids were for sure the center of the evening. She even stopped everyone from gathering around to look at the kids' recent art projects and tell stories and sing. Is this normal in other circles? What would you do if this was your friend? If I do say something, how would you explain this so that the person isn't mad or feels like you just don't like their kid? She was mad because everyone left early and she had catered the event, but I think people didn't want to stay and preferred to just go back to their kids because they felt a little disrespected by the way things went. People are saying they don't want to hang out with her anymore. Like, what to do? Update. Hi, everyone. I never expected so many people would have been interested in this situation, but I think it helps me feel vindicated that the situation was just as strange as I had perceived it to be. I wanted to wait for the kids to get back into school so we could discuss it in person, and luckily I didn't even have to bring it up because someone else did bring it up to her, and she was eager to tell me that people were mad and she didn't know what the problem is with what she did. I was able to get through to her. I'll call her Katie in this post, and also understand her perspective. Understand, not agree with, which I'll try to explain here the best I can. I cannot remember every detail of the conversation but can paraphrase all the key parts. 1. She had been upset because one of our friends, Molly, was taking care of her toddler while Katie's kid kept trying to show her something. Katie noticed this and felt bad that her daughter just wants to share things with people she thinks of as her family/aunts. We are just friends, but the kids call each other aunts and each other's kids cousins, so she wanted to build a stronger relationship between her kids and her close friends. She thought that us spending time with her kids away from our kids would be the way for us to show her kids better attention. This is especially important to her because she is an only child. Her parents are gone. Her husband is an only child and his parents are gone. Her children have no biological family. She is worried about what will happen to them if she passed away, etc. Her mom passed away when she was a teenager and she feels anxious about her health. 2. She doesn't feel that other people's kids need this same type of bond with her because our kids have biological aunts, uncles, and cousins. She thinks they should be able to go spend time with their biological family and assumed that we were all sending our kids to our family and not paying a babysitter. She has no understanding of what it's actually like and romanticizes it. She was shocked to find that my siblings don't just drop their lives to babysit my kid. People who have siblings still pay babysitters, and did for her parties. 3. She feels that she paid for all the food and wine and that alone should cover the expense of the babysitter even if we did pay one. She knows that paying a sitter plus dinner would still cost more since she catered everything from a very expensive place and we should have just been happy to get free food and drink, and if playing some kid's game is the price for that, it's not a bad price. Essentially, she argued at first that if someone pays for everything, they can decide, and if we want a different type of gathering we can foot the bill and throw that gathering. Now, how I handled this, that last note did eventually change to a more understanding perspective as I explained more and more about how even though she is technically right, she cannot maintain strong friendships with this mindset. You cannot provide meals for people with strings attached and deception involved. We didn't know until we got there, and expect us to love it. She can do whatever she likes, but people can also end a friendship if they like, so she is free to do it but not free from the consequences of it. I also was very clear to her that if her goal is to get stronger bonds for her kids, the way to do that is to love and bond with our kids and include them. That part seemed to be totally unexpected to her. I had to explain that people will be so upset by the fact that she isn't including their kids in kid events or isn't accepting that a parent needs to take care of their own kid first before focusing on hers that they won't even want to be part of her family because that isn't what a family is. My sister doesn't expect me to leave my kid behind and be only with my nephews. My sister would never tell me to not bring my daughter to a family event because she loves my daughter and that makes me love her and my nephews even more. I had to explain all this. Lastly, she is rich and did grow up rich, and as the only child she admits that she struggles to see things from other perspectives or to consider others' feelings, and she has to make a conscious attempt to really see outside of her own wants and needs. She said she even talks about this in therapy, and that's why she goes out of her way to do nice things for us. I put some examples of her acts of kindness in the original post, because that's her way of trying to actively be a generous and caring person. She did cry as expected, especially when she was talking about her kids not having any family and her mom and dad dying, and I'm very glad I did not mention it at the parties like everyone suggested, because I would have never wanted her to do that in front of people. It goes deep and she needs therapy to continue working on it. Overall, she did come around to the realization that she needs to alter her way of thinking about it and do things differently if she wants to achieve what she claims. She continued to reiterate how much her kids love me, and how much she does love my kid too. She said she wants to do things the right way. She just is frustrated because what makes sense to her doesn't make sense to other people, but she accepts that it's her who will need to fix her way of thinking. A lot of crying and some arguing, but overall, it does appear that we are still friends. We hugged, and she said she is going to do something nice for everyone and their kids. If anyone still has questions about specific things said, I can try to answer in comments. Appreciate everyone's help. I felt much better going into it knowing that I was not wrong for standing my ground on this.